This year marks 20 years since YouTube started. Can you believe it? Over 2 decades later, being a YouTuber can, for some, become a full-time job. Louise Pentland started vlogging family life in 2010 and has amassed a huge 195 million views since, with many calling her Britain's biggest mumfluencer. So, could you do it too? Here to tell you how, it's Louise Pentland.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me.
And Louise, it's really lovely to be on honeymoon with you.
Yeah, welcome to my honeymoon, everybody. I got married 4 days ago.
Wow.
And I thought, do I want a honeymoon in Seychelles? No. I want to come on Loose Women.
We're going to take that, yeah. So this all started for you. You were a really early adopter. This started for you in 2010, is that right? How did it start?
Well, I was the world's worst receptionist. I was rubbish at my job. And whilst I was working really hard, I would read blogs and watch YouTube videos. And I thought one day I'd give it a go. It's like something to do in the evening. And it was meant to be a short-term project. But 15 years later, here I am. It was not such a short-term project. And when you said, could you do it? Yes, you could. Anybody could do this.
Wow. So at what point did that's one of the early ones. At what point did you think,
early one.
this is actually going to be my career?
It wasn't until my eldest daughter, who's 14 now, was about 1, and I realised I didn't need to go back to work after maternity leave. And I thought I was making the same amount of money as I would have made from my part-time office job in this. I thought, well, why don't we just give this a go? And the plan was, can I make this work until she goes to school, and then I'll go back to being the world's worst receptionist.
Can I ask a really obvious question that I just don't know the answer to? How do you first make money from YouTube? What actually happens?
So you can join a creator program that YouTube has. You know when you see those very annoying little ads at the bottom, or when you're like hovering, waiting to click to like get rid of it? Skip, I skip them too. YouTube takes a cut of those and they give a cut to their creators.
How do they give? Do they have your email address? Do they just send you? Do they just get
It's a little man and he comes round with like a bag of coins, in a Hessian sack, and it's gold coins.
If you think of it just like television, so you make programs and people put ads in, and then that's how they fund the program.
You get the money from the ads, and that's how you make the money.
Absolutely, and I work with brands. I just did a billboard campaign with Nivea for body positivity, and so as you work with brands, they pay you a fee to kind of like use your platform to promote their stuff.
So what's the content then? What's being a mumfluencer? What does that mean?
So I share what it's like to be a mum. I like to be just a friendly voice to people, because a lot of people put their screens on as you've put it on right now. They put you on in the background as someone to chat to, someone to listen to. So over the years it has evolved, because when I first started, I didn't have children. I was talking about beauty things. And then I realised, oh, I'm not very good at that. I just like to trowel on this. I didn't do this today, makeup artist did this. And now I talk about motherhood and lifestyle and mental health. And as I get older, I'll talk about more things. I'm sure I'll end up talking about menopause and life. I've just turned 40. Life after 40, and hopefully after 50, and after 60, and 70 and 80.
Is there a similar pressure to them there may be on television, which is that you have to be, come across as happy and, life is perfect? Because a lot of people will say that about social media, won't it? That somehow it leaves them feeling like inadequate in some way.
Yes.
Is that something that you feel pressure to be? Or?
Yes and no. There has been some really dark times in my life that I have talked about. I had a very turbulent, difficult childhood, which we've talked about on the show before.
You wrote a book about
I wrote a book about it. I have been divorced. But during those times, so not the childhood, but like during, say, when my marriage came to an end 10 years ago, YouTube was a really joyful distraction. I do share the down bits, but also I think it's really important that we remember to have boundaries, and that you don't need to share every single thing with every single person. So I try and find a balance of like not making everything look perfect and sharing the hard parts, but also remembering what is personal, especially when you're dealing with your family. You have to remember that your children, you've got to have those boundaries.
Do you know what? Right, later in the show, we're going to be debating the term housewife. How do you feel? Because actually, you probably fit into that umbrella slightly. How do you feel?
I actually feel fine about it. I suppose it's how people are delivering it to you. If someone's like, you're just a housewife, that's not nice.
Yeah.
But if someone say, are you a housewife? I'd be happy to say, yes, I am a wife and I do work from home. it doesn't offend me. But I think I have got a warped sense of what's offensive now because I work online, so, and you know what it's like with your online platforms, you do see every comment under the sun. So I've like, can't always tell what's offensive. I'm like, that's nice.
What would you call yourself then? Just a mum that works from home?
Yeah. I'm just a work from home mum.
What about a mumfluencer? How do you feel about that?
I'd go for mumfluencer. I actually quite like it. I don't love the term influencer, but I have accepted I can't control what people call us. Like, I prefer content creator, but mumfluencer's OK because it's got mum in and I like being a mum. Yeah. But you'd be hard pushed to find something that would really upset me. That's not a challenge.
Don't keep people off.
Yeah, don't try. But mostly, I'm pretty late. I've been doing this long enough. I've got pretty thick skin, so yeah.
You were talking about boundaries, and you know you've obviously managed to sort of get it in perspective. But for your kids, they're on camera, and your 14-year-old, I believe, is on TikTok. Do you have any concerns about that?
Yes, so many concerns about children online. I try and find a really healthy balance. And some people would say I could share more. Some people would say I share less. There's things evolved over time. I don't do daily vlogging or weekly vlogging or anything like that. And I know my children. Darcy she's a little show person. She loves theatre. She loves dance. Pearl, not so much. So I just let Pearl do her thing. She likes outside. She likes horse riding. Darcy has a TikTok, but it's a private account. She has Instagram, which is a public account. But she's not allowed to just willy-nilly post whenever she likes. It has to be like well thought out and have to check it first. And I'm logged in. There's so many safety features if you know about them. I don't think they're obvious enough, but I'm logged into her thing, so I see everything that's coming in and everything that's going out. Because although you trust your child, you've got to...
You can't trust the world.
You can't trust the world. And as much as I think your child is a little darling, they are just as bad as all... We were terrible when we were younger. You've got to be monitoring. And I think we're never going to get rid of social media. It's here for good.
With us,
so I would rather educate her and train her to use it wisely and sensibly while she's still listening to me, because in a few years she won't be listening to me.
But you'll still be with us. Unfortunately, we've got to go. Louise, thank you so much.
Thank you.